That's on
And
me. Oh, you
it's
did.
cycling. Give
Okay.
it a pause.
Give it a 10 seconds. 10. 10.
10 seconds. Boom, that's 10. Welcome to the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate, brought to you by Fantasy Focused and the Original Hooters. I am Sam Holt, joined as always by my wonderful co-host Derek Tate. Derek, how the hell are you on this gorgeous Saturday?
Wonderful. Happy Valentine's Day, belated. I don't know who your Valentine was. I have a Valentine, but I'm assuming Knox was your beautiful Valentine. I saw that he wanted to murder you yesterday on Instagram.
When does he not want to murder me? But yeah, technically, I guess if I had to say I had a Valentine, it was my cat. But my coworkers and I bought each other a ton of chocolate, and I bought beef jerky, and we had a whole bunch of snacks at the office yesterday. So that was a lot of fun. And then I capped off my Valentine's Day by watching both Captain Marvel and Captain America, because I decided I'm going to watch the entire Marvel series. Because I went through all of Star Wars, so now I got to do that.
I was going to ask you, were your parents the type to get everyone in your class growing up a Valentine's Day card?
Yes, I remember always doing that. Honestly, I thought about going to like a Big Lots or a CVS to see if I could find those cartoon Valentines for my coworkers. I remember getting like the SpongeBob ones and the Spider-Man ones, and those were all super fun, and some cheesy line on it. My coworker gave me a cute Valentine yesterday. Said I whaley like you, and I had a whale on it. It was adorable.
Oh, nice. That's good. I mean, I don't know if you saw that I posted recently a couple dog show coverage things.
Yes.
That I did. Dog tons aplenty.
Dog tons aplenty.
Oh, I mean, Buzz's girlfriend. Woof. But no, I will say the thing that I remember most about Valentine's Day growing up, which, by the way, I think it's a bullshit holiday.
Oh, completely. 100% bullshit holiday. Don't even want to get me started on the things that I think are bullshit when it comes to having to buy each other stuff during relationships. I actually don't even think that engagement rings should be a thing, because that's stupid expensive. But to each their own.
Yeah, Kelly and I didn't even exchange Valentine's Day gifts. I talked to her about it. Like we both stayed up till midnight on Valentine's Day, or the night before Valentine's Day. And she's like, "Oh, by the way, I didn't get you anything." I'm like, "Oh, well, I was going to get you flowers tomorrow morning, but cool. All right, then we're just not exchanging." High five. So we're both on the same, on the same wavelength. But I gotta say, up there with some of the worst holiday-specific candy of all time are those chalky-ass little
Tums
hearts that have like the little sayings, like whatever Valentine's Day saying you want to enter on it. But it's like this chalky-ass, tasteless piece of shit that bring no value to the meaning of Valentine's Day.
The meaning of candy, let alone Valentine's Day.
They're right there with Peeps as useless holiday candies. I hate Peeps.
How do you hate Peeps?
They're just not very good to me.
Oh my gosh, Peeps are delightful. What's great is when you make a s'more with a marshmallow Peep. That's freaking delightful, because if you microwave them too, they expand. So it goes from being a cute little marshmallow Peep to like a mega marshmallow Peep.
All right. Can't talk smack about doing a Peep mallow. I've never done a s'more involving a Peep, so I can't talk shit about it if I haven't tried it.
Yeah, you have to try it. I'm just saying, Easter's coming around as one of the next holidays, because this is that time of year where there's a bunch of random holidays. So, I mean, you just got to go for it. They're fantastic. But no, I agree. As far as like the chalky Tums that are the Be Mine hearts, I could not loathe those any more than I already do.
Well, I mean, Andrew, I wouldn't exactly admit that on the airwaves, but I mean, you just did. So there you go. He's unfollowing. He really is unfollowing because he loves Peeps too. So I mean, Andrew just hates my guts right now. But point is, I mean, I hope everybody had a good Valentine's Day. What do we have on today's agenda?
Well, on today's agenda, we've got a tiny bit of news, not a lot going on in the NFL right now, but mostly we want to talk about the breakout players of 2020 that could break some hearts. this coming season, and some stunners that should continue to shine. Now, in the meantime, guys, please go ahead and sound off in the comments if you have any questions, fantasy football related or nonsense related, as Derek and I love answering both of those types of questions. As you all know, we love shenanigans and we love nonsense. So any kind of questions you guys have, please put those in the comments and we will bring those right to the top of the subject.
And today's drinking word is Valentine's Day. Or Valentine. Let's go Valentine.
Valentine, yeah, Valentine.
Boom. Okay, so
perfect. So first off, let's start off just with the quietest news that could be, something we all saw coming. Phillip Rivers and the Chargers have decided to mutually part ways. We all saw this coming.
They break up on Valentine's Day. How it's a long relationship though.
Yeah.
16 years. It's a long ass time.
Yeah, but you know what? They mutually parted ways. Mutual. It was mutual.
Are we sure it was mutual? Are any breakups really truly mutual? I mean, in your experience, have they ever been truly mutual?
No. Breakups I feel like are never, they're not like, you know what? I don't like you. Me neither. Oh, perfect. Okay, let's just move on.
There's one side that always wins, and the Chargers have this toxic relationship with one guy in particular, Antonio Gates. This poor bastard, they've like tried to force him out the door. And then when Hunter Henry blew his knee out, like in the middle of the offseason, back in like 2018, it's a toxic relationship because the Chargers, like with their tail tucked between their legs, sent Antonio Gates that like "you up" text. You know, like the one you get at like 3 a.m. from an ex, like, oh, by the way, maybe we aren't done yet. Like, you up? Like, you want to meet up one more time? Like, yeah, not good.
I mean, the times I've gotten those texts.
Poor Antonio.
I know. I feel bad for him, but I feel like if anything, it's just a pattern of bad relationship, standards for the Chargers with their players. I mean, Melvin Gordon obviously held out this past year, and he has his own reasons for that, and they're, I think, very well warranted, but they're also not, I don't know if they're just in the good business of making sure their players are happy.
I don't think they give a shit. It's a business. I mean, and they've taken that approach in the past with guys like Vincent Jackson, in particular. I mean, Vincent Jackson, I think, sat out like 10 games one season. So, I mean, they particularly have a stance when it comes to players that hold out. And Melvin Gordon, unfortunately, I think that he shouldn't have held out in the first place. I think he got terrible advice. But point being, they're going their separate ways. Phillip Rivers has moved him and his family of 23 down to Florida. So there may be some smoke maybe some fire where there's a little bit of smoke as far as some of the reports saying that there's some significant interest in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But we'll have to kind of keep you updated as the situation develops.
I was just about to correct you. I'm like, you mean updated? As far as news when it comes to Phillip Rivers. So that being the small news that we have to talk about, let's just jump right into our first topic, which is the breakouts that could break some hearts this past season. So let's start off with Dalvin Cook, who had an amazing season with 250 attempts for 1,135 rush yards and 13 touchdowns. And he's a player who, I mean, off camera, we were talking a little bit about how the difference between him and our next guy is that he has sustained quite a few injuries that have bogged his potential. But this was quite a year for him and for any Dalvin Cook owner.
So, Dalvin Cook was fantastic. I mean, nothing short of spectacular in 2019. And I always saw the potential when he came out of Florida State. I thought it was asinine that he went in the second round. As far as when I saw him on tape at Florida State, I was like, dude, this kid's an all-star in the league. And whenever he has played and been on the field for a significant stretch of time, I mean, he's been damn good. He's been productive. I mean, he's never averaged fewer than 4.5 yards a clip during his entire career. And that was, even back in 2018 after he was coming back from a torn ACL. So we always knew the potential was there. But finally, Kevin Stefanski, who was the offensive coordinator for the Vikings this past season, really committed to the run game and built this offense around Dalvin Cook, and you saw the results. So we saw only Cook scratch the surface as far as his receiving potential. I mean, I think he's capable of catching more than 53 passes in a year. So Cook, but the touchdowns are what I'm concerned about. I think, I mean, we saw this happens with almost any player at any position, no matter how great they are, even for a 2 or 3 year span. touchdowns are the toughest thing to predict on a year-to-year basis. I mean, they're almost impossible to project. We saw it with Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
I mean, Kamara went from scoring like 16 to 18 touchdowns through the first 2 years of his career. All the way last year, he had like 3 total touchdowns all the way through like week 14. I mean, just something where it's very, very, very tough to predict. And last year, Dalvin Cook, who is not a very good short yardage back, and they've got Alexander Mattison there. He scored 13 rushing touchdowns. Do I still think he'll score around 10? Yes, but with Kevin Stefanski now moving over to the Cleveland Browns, it does make me a little concerned that there is some regression in session for 2020.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, especially because people that are drafting Dalvin Cook, even now, I'm in a dynasty draft right now, and I have another one that's going to start in a couple weeks. Just at where you're going to pick up Dalvin Cook, I just feel like it's gonna be such a regression that it's not gonna help his ADP. Like he's just not gonna meet it. And again, it was a great year. Obviously, the first full healthy year he's had, and so we really got to see his full potential. Hopefully, with this new offensive coordinator, whoever they've hired, I'm not sure if they've actually hired someone new yet. He doesn't falter too much, but I don't think he's going to match these numbers. And I think that's what you're saying as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's Gary Kubiak is the new head or the offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. So, I mean, Kubiak, I mean, you talk about a veteran coach.
Yeah.
A Super Bowl winning head coach in the NFL. So the fact that he's the offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, you got to feel good. And his system should fit Dalvin Cook quite well. And trust me, Gary Kubiak wants to run the football. So I imagine that, kind of the descendant of that Shanahan system, Dalvin Cook's going to be just fine as far as his volume in 2020. I think he's still going to see, as long as health permitting, he'll still be over 300 total touches. It's just those touchdowns. We'll see. I think that he's going to fall short of the 10 touchdown mark, but I think he'll finish somewhere. Total yardage wise, I still think he's going to finish somewhere around 1,800 yards, which is a good season. He'll still be a first round talent. It's just the touchdown production with Alexander Mattison there, it still makes me wonder what his ceiling is when it comes to rushing touchdowns.
Do you feel like it could turn more into almost this year, and it'll take us into the next guy, Aaron Jones, a la Jamal Williams type of setup where you see a lot of vultured touchdowns by Mattison?
I could see Mattison vulturing somewhere around 3 to 5 touchdowns, which is a lot. I mean,
that is a lot.
As far as fantasy football goes, that's devastating to start Dalvin Cook week in, week out, and you see Mattison punch in a short yardage touchdown or two every other week. Now, when it comes to, let's change gears to Aaron Jones, though, because you talk about a guy that broke out. I mean, and it was Field Yates who's actually jumped on some of our podcasts here at Fantasy Focus. Shout out to Field Yates. That guy's the best.
He's awesome.
No, yeah, love Field. But you talk about a guy that exploded as far as production goes. 16 rushing touchdowns for Aaron Jones in 2019. And you talk about a guy that was tailor-made for this offensive system for Matt LaFleur. Mm-hmm. I think that Jones is still going to be the focal point of this offense moving forward in the next season. Could they add some depth, behind him? Possibly, because it's a decent running back draft in 2020, but I didn't see Jamal Williams vulture too much. He did every now and then, and what they do with Matt LaFleur for some reason is he loves those little tap passes that are essentially just extensions of running plays. Mm-hmm. In specific looks, he even ran some of those tap pass like jet sweeps inside the 5-yard line this season, and they worked. Because Aaron Jones is just a beast when you get him out on the edges. But 19 total touchdowns. Again, I think some regression is in session when it comes to 19. I mean, how many running backs score 19 touchdowns in a season and do it back-to-back years? I mean,
not a lot. Not a lot. So those are some pretty nice numbers right there. But no, I agree. I feel like he's going to regress a bit. But for me, going into next season, maybe because love is blind. Maybe this is kind of going on to the Valentine, vibe. But
you said it.
I said it. I said the word drink.
All right.
But for me, I'm still drafting Aaron Jones in, late first if I can.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
The thing that was so encouraging about Aaron Jones, for me in particular, as far as his prospects moving forward, his involvement in the passing game.
Yeah.
I thought he was excellent as far as how they set him up for screens and really use some of the athleticism they have along the offensive line there in Green Bay and played off of, I mean, LaFleur, say what you will. I thought that he proved his play calling prowess this year. And Aaron Rodgers kind of I won't say he took a backseat, but I'm not crazy for saying that it didn't feel like he was the focal point of the offense. It felt like it was the running game and a lot of the play action that created a lot of these opportunities in 2019. And I think that as Aaron Rodgers ages and kind of loses some of what made him so special, which was his ability to extend plays and his athleticism and that, crazy arm and ability to throw off any platform, as that starts to wane, he's going to have something to lean on. And that running game is the perfect thing to extend his career.
Absolutely. I agree on that for sure, which I'm actually just realizing now. I mean, this is the fantasy debate and I keep agreeing with you. So we're going to run into I know we're going to run into one of these players where we're going to disagree. Hopefully it's one of the next ones. But I just picked up Aaron Rodgers in a dynasty league, and I'm not happy about the pick because I know that as far as dynasty goes, and I think he's going to be fine for this season, I need to get myself, some studly rookie quarterback in order to balance me out for the rest of my dynasty longevity in that league. Just because I feel like Rodgers is going to start turning ball manager sooner than later.
I mean, we've already seen that transition. But it's not that Aaron Rodgers isn't capable of tossing the ball over the yard. I mean, that's the thing that's a little bit – I mean, because we remember a couple seasons ago that I think Drew Brees only threw 23 touchdown passes. And everybody was like, oh, yep, see, he's done. He's regressing. They're transitioning to a running game because they got Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. And then, of course, Drew Brees reminds everybody that he's Drew freaking Brees and, continued to ball out for another 2 seasons. So I don't want to start to say that Rodgers – I mean, he's actually going to be an interesting guy to kind of debate. Is regression is in session, or is he going to be someone that bounces back in 20? I mean, because I expect most people are going to have Rodgers just inside their top 10 as far as a fantasy quarterback for 2020.
Yeah, I agree on that. I feel like I wonder too. I mean, as you say that about Brees, and I know that Rodgers was dealing with a couple injuries he was coming back from. So maybe this was his year of feeling out the new offense fully, whole year in the new offensive scheme with this coach and with LaFleur. And maybe this next year, we're going to see that full growth, slow growth really bloom and blossom, because we can't forget Davante Adams is still there, and Davante Adams is still, in peak condition to be an amazing receiver going into this season as well. So maybe this is going to be a big bounce back for Rodgers, and we're going to see an increase in passing touchdowns. And as far as Aaron Jones is concerned, seeing how successful he was in the passing game, a boost there rather than on the ground.
This is a deep, deep, deep wide receiver class too. So if the Green Bay Packers decide to go in that direction to give Rodgers another weapon on the outside, I mean, this offense could really take off. I mean, because they need someone. They need someone other than Davante Adams to be able to win one-on-one matchups. If they get 100%. That, then this is a well-oiled machine for 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a couple folks, though, actually.
Yeah, they're joining us. Will Jenkins, as always, is joining us. Hey, guys, what's crack-a-lackin'? What's up, Will? He is our wonderful promoter of the show, and he's always, without fail, there with a tweet supporting us. Will, we love you.
All right, guys, let's do this. Willie Jenkins.
And then Fredley Jimenez is joining us. The best holiday candy are Easter chocolate eggs. Those are freaking delicious.
Oh, Cadbury eggs.
Yeah, the Cadbury eggs.
Oh,
I think the Cadbury eggs are the MVP of this season. Oh my gosh, they're so good.
I'm not a big Cadbury eggs commercial guy. I think their commercials are a little weird where they put all the...
Yeah, but they don't need to put effort in when the candy is that good. That's why it's hilarious.
True. Good point. Good point.
And Nick Bird is also joining us. What up, guys? Wearing my Fantasy Focus hat again today in your honor. Thanks, Nick. Love that you got that swag over there. And guys, always tune in on Fantasy Focused on the Instagram too. I know that they're going to be giving away a lot of different hats and shirts as the season builds up to 2020. So go ahead and keep tuning in and subscribe, follow, all those things. Fredley Jimenez has an interesting one for us. Is next season the year Rojo finally breaks out?
It's going to be interesting to see what the Buccaneers decide to do in free agency and the draft. Because if they add some competition for Rojo, I could easily see him losing touches, being a change of pace guy, which is unfortunate because I saw some of that pop.
There were glimpses.
There were big time glimpses in 2019. I liked what I saw from him. But look, he continues to struggle in pass protection. And one thing about Bruce Arians, I mean, we saw him release Vernon Hargreaves, straight up cut a first-round pick because the man was loafing. Now, granted, it goes a little bit deeper than that. It wasn't just because he loafed on one play, didn't hustle on pursuit angles for one play. That's not the only reason why. I mean, this was probably a couple weeks, couple years of seeing Vernon Hargreaves underachieve, and Bruce Arians is like, enough of this shit, you're gone. But we saw at times Rojo look like he was a potential breakout candidate, and then the next week we'd see him have an equal amount of touches with like Peyton Barber. And the reason why is because he continues to struggle with the little nuances and details of staying on the football field and being a 3-down back. And if Arians is going to, we'll see how Arians feels about Rojo moving forward. If he decides to bring in significant competition, then I don't like Rojo. If they don't do anything and don't bring any competition in, he is someone I'm targeting right around like round 7 in fantasy drafts this upcoming season. I do think he could top the 12 to 1,300 total yard mark in 2020.
Yeah, I like that spot for him as well. And agree, it completely depends on what they do this offseason in their backfield to see if they shore up that position or not. But it would be great if they gave the guy a chance, don't you think?
Just give love a chance.
Just give love a chance. That's all we're saying. It's positivity this morning on the Valentine's Day post episode.
Oh,
cheers.
Rex Quan Joe. Bow to your sensei. Bow to your sensei. Sorry.
Another one from Fredley. Thoughts on David Montgomery, who I think was a little lackluster this year. Maybe he'll be a stunner this year. What?
I mean,
I know how much you love talking about the Bears. I know you do.
Oh, gosh. So, David Montgomery, I don't think his quote-unquote lackluster year really had to do too much with his play. I understand.
It wasn't him.
I'm not going to say it was him. It was more so Matt Nagy and their commitment to, one, him as a lead back, and two, just running the football in general. I mean, for some reason, we saw Mitchell Trubisky play like shit for the majority of the season, yet we still saw a complete lack of committing to any semblance of a run game on multiple occasions, which if your quarterback is struggling, just common sense would tell you run the football to make his job a little bit easier.
You would think. One would think.
One would think. But I still think this kid's got skills. I still think we saw, speaking of glimpses, we saw glimpses of things that I thought made David Montgomery the second best running back in last year's draft class. So we'll see what he's capable of. But really, his production is going to be tied to Mitchell Trubisky and how productive this offense is capable of keeping, staying on the field, just sustaining drives. Because David Montgomery can do some work.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm definitely not taking him in the first 3 rounds. I think he's more of like a 5th, 6th round guy to me. I'm not calling the breakout card for him at all. I just don't trust Matt Nagy and Mitchell Trubisky.
No, I mean, I feel like he's more of a bit of a wait and see and stash kind of a player. I mean, I like him around maybe 5 or 6 too, pushing it. But I just don't feel like until you see it, you can have the faith that he'll do it. Like, prove it to me. Prove it to me first.
Back. I mean, without one thing you're getting is you he's the most capable running back on the roster at the current moment. Now, if they draft another guy or sign another guy, then that's a different story. But as currently constructed, he's the lead dog. And saw some great games from him. And he's capable of doing that if they commit to the running game and Trubisky is able to sustain drives. So, but which quarterback are you going to get on a weekly basis from Mitchell Trubisky? Flip a coin. We don't know.
Yeah, we really won't know. And we'll also have to see in this offseason if they are fully committed to Mitchell Trubisky. It seems like they are, but maybe they'll pull something and draft a quarterback. Who knows? But Buck is tuning in saying Rojo is the truth. I can hear him saying that.
You can. You want to? I'm not even going to try to imitate Buck. Rojo is the truth.
Rojo is the truth.
And then I want to see him like come up with his like crazy analogies. Right there. Put it in the comment section, Buck, and I'll try my best to do an imitation of you.
Nick Bird, looks like Cardinals are actually saying they want to keep David Johnson, which honestly makes no sense to me.
To you and me both, brother.
We don't know. Just tell me what you want. What do you want? This is that meme that goes back to The Notebook where Ryan Gosling is asking Rachel McAdams, what do you want? What do you want?
Oh, why are you talking
with the
about
Cardinals
the
organization?
Oh, stop talking about The Notebook. But I will say this. If you really believed in David Johnson, why in the hell did you make Kenyon Drake the premier back, the lead back as we finished the season? And he played great. So you traded for him. He played great, but David Johnson's still our guy? Come on. Horseshit. I call bullshit.
And I hope that David Johnson sees through that as well and requests a trade if he can just to get out. He needs to go somewhere where people will love him for who he is.
It's just all about love here on this Valentine's Day episode.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
You said it that time.
Whoopsie.
And Nick, as a Panthers fan, I'm rooting for Cam to get healthy and stay. But honestly, wouldn't mind Tannehill. I think we could be a slightly better version of the Titans on offense.
What's interesting when you're talking about the Titans offense, you do have an all-world running back in Christian McCaffrey. So
and he's beautiful. Good-looking
cat. Him and Derrick Henry, that makes sense as far as comparable parts. I actually like the duo of A.J. Brown and Corey Davis more so than I like DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel. That's just me personally. Jonnu Smith and, Ian Thomas, tomato. I agree. But I think Cam Newton's better than Tannehill, to be honest with you. People keep forgetting how good Cam Newton actually is.
Yeah.
I get that Tannehill had a great year. 100%. The man deserves to get paid and should be a starter in the NFL, given what he did last season. But I don't want to overreact. Cam Newton's been doing it since 2011. And he's got a league MVP under his belt. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on the saltiness. And I know, Nick, you're sitting there saying you want Cam to get healthy and stay.
Yeah.
But I hate this narrative that, Cam Newton's needs to go and they need to move on from Cam Newton. Did you see what Kyle Allen did towards the backstretch of last season? It wasn't pretty. He got exposed.
No. He definitely – Kyle Allen did shine well in the first couple weeks, but it tapered off pretty quick.
Yeah, I went to hell in a handbasket really quick, and Ron Rivera got fired because of it.
Yeah.
Ron Rivera's time in Carolina died for this. Died for Kyle Allen to stay a quarterback.
Yeah. Nick Bird is agreeing with you. A healthy Cam is better than most QBs. This is only if he's not healthy.
Yeah, last year when he started the year, he was not healthy. That's one thing that I think you saw the 2 games that he played last year, and people keep saying, oh, look at it. Look at his 2 games last year, and look at how he finished the season before. He's not the same guy. No, he just wasn't healthy.
Yeah, he just wasn't healthy. 100% healthy Cam is going to get you an average of 16 touchdowns. The number's way off on this.
What are you talking about?
No, he's going to get you an average of what? Looks like
Valentine's Day.
touchdowns.
Just drink while you think.
I'm not good at math. I'm just good at
– Can I get that on a shirt? Drink while you think?
Drink while you think, yeah. He's going to get you an average of what? 3,500 yards a season and 25 touchdowns if I just median those numbers. But since 2011, he's had up and down years, but for the most part, it's been up when he's healthy.
He's been up. You have to understand, and most people need to understand that Cam is a different type. You don't measure him the way you measure most traditional quarterbacks. I mean, he's had one 4,000-yard passing season in his entire NFL career. Mm-hmm. Hell, the year that he won MVP, he didn't even throw for 4,000 yards. He threw for 3,500.
Yeah.
And he had 45 total touchdowns. So Cam is still someone, especially with this revolution going on in the NFL that features RPOs, features mobile quarterbacks. Cam is still built like Superman, everybody.
Yeah, that hasn't changed. We just want a healthy Superman.
Get him healthy and keep him. I mean, Matt Rule, don't be a dumbass and force Cam Newton out the door. You'll regret it.
Yeah, gotta hope not. And I think Nick Bird likes the drink while you think.
Drink while you think. I think I may have just came up with a motto.
Yeah.
What's the motto with you?
He said that would be the motto during his master's degree.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, please get degrees, pal.
Yeah, I like it. And then I guess Bucks is just tuning in, which we always love it when Bucks tunes in. Is this the year Monte Ball finally smiles on his dynasty owners?
I mean, maybe for one fantasy owner with the team name called the Little Big Wheel, just keeps on turning. Yeah, I mean, so one thing I want to mention to everybody that is tuning in right now and listening to us on however you digest your podcast later this week, we're going to be doing a bunch of different shows during the offseason, one of which is called the Dynasty Doctor. And I don't know if I'm going to add like Dynasty Dr. Tater because, I have a PhD in fantasy football. But, if you screwed up your fantasy football team royally, the doctor's going to help. It has the cure. I'm going to help you fix it every Monday. That's where it's going to be coming at you.
Like that.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, point being, so we have other players that broke out in 2019.
Yeah. So you don't even want to talk about Monte Ball then?
Yes, this year is the year. I mean, Monte Ball is the 7-year investment that you made back in 2014. He's probably going to have that career year in the XFL, but we'll talk about the XFL in a little bit. But.
All right, well, let's move on to the next player we got on our list. We got to talk about Derrick Henry,
right?
Who, I mean, speaking of players that absolutely just hulked this season, massively hulked out. I mean, you can't not talk about Derrick Henry. I mean, he had, what is that, 18 touchdowns this year?
Are you familiar with the character Juggernaut in
X-Men?
Marvel Combat? Yep. X-Men, Marvel Comics. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the last two seasons, we've seen Derrick Henry pick up momentum as the season has progressed. Like the Juggernaut. Like once this guy gets going, he's an unstoppable freaking force. So we've seen that over the last 2 years, and we've seen the recipe for success. And Mike Vrabel's not a dumbass. One thing I feel like I can go take to the bank is that Mike Vrabel is actually a damn legitimate NFL coach. After what I saw this past season, you beat the Ravens and the Patriots on the road in the playoffs. I mean, and the formula is to feed the beast that is Derrick Henry.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he kind of forgot about that at Kansas City, but I'll give him a pass because, you beat the GOAT and you beat this last year's MVP. And then you got Mahomes, which just, shit happens. But as far as Derrick Henry, I've got him as my number 3 running back for heading into the coming season. And I know that he's not going to give you in a PPR for definitely in standard. In fact, in standard formats, I've got him as number 2. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But in PPR formats, I still give the nod to Saquon Barkley right in front of him, even though Barkley had a down year, but the dude played through a high ankle sprain. I mean, come on. I mean, dude, you look at him, even at not 100%, he's still the best athlete on the field 9 times out of 10.
With the best quads on the planet, I believe.
Oh, my God. Oh, I can't believe I'm the same species as this guy when I see his quad.
I know. He just looks otherworldly.
Oh, anyway.
Was that a swoon for Saquon Barkley's leg?
I'm a little jealous.
Derrick Tate just swooned.
I'd probably have to buy new, chairs, like specially made chairs, just to be able to have the quads fit in them. I mean, if I had a set like that, holy crap. But anyway,
I bet he breaks
Derrick
chairs a
Henry,
lot.
the point is, I don't think that Derrick Henry is going to regress. I think he's the
Okay.
best yardage back in the NFL. I think he's the most dominant running back as far as like a guy that, look, he's getting the ball and there's nothing you can do to stop him. The only thing that you can do is similar to the juggernaut. If you get him before he can get a full head of steam, his lateral movement is the only weakness in his game. But they have a damn good offensive line there in Tennessee. So you have a damn good offensive line, a competent defense, and some nice weapons on the outside to keep you honest with A.J. Brown and Corey Davis. I see more of the same for Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I mean, you got to like just the overall volume of growth when it comes to his usage in the receiving game, which I feel like is what you were just speaking on as well. I mean, over the last 4 years, he goes from 15 targets, 17, 18 to this past year was 24 targets. I mean, you like that slow and, steady increase in targets overall. I mean, Tannehill really used him to his best ability in that passing game. Total of 206 passing yards for him, and then just steady increase as well as far as rushing yard usage with 1,540 this year. Steady increase in touchdowns. All like it's just like this slow, delightful incline of all stats. Like you can't get mad at it, but you can picture it plateauing.
The increase is significant when it comes to his rushing totals, and clearly you give this guy more attempts, he's going to produce. Like that's the part that is like concrete. You can see just this steady like ascending incline when it comes to his involvement as far as touches go on the ground. But his passing game involvement with Dion Lewis still there, as long as he's still a Titan in 2020, I just still see a cap on his, and that's why in PPR formats, somebody like playing behind other backs that catch 50, 60, 70 passes, it's hard for a guy that even is as great on the ground as Derrick Henry to make up that point gap because he only catches 20, 30 passes tops in a season. So, I mean, that's what limits him in a PPR. But in a standard, your boy, I got him second.
Yeah. I mean, if Dion Lewis, moves on from the Titans, do you move him up one?
No, I still got Saquon Barkley because you can find other pass catching dynamos that are more skilled than Derrick Henry in running routes and winning matchups against linebackers and safeties.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So let's go on over to Chris Godwin real quick as someone that we want to see if they're going. He was a breakout this past year, but could he break hearts this coming year?
So I see Chris Godwin's role in this offense being pretty damn secure. Whether or not Jameis Winston's under center or if it's Phillip Rivers or someone else. Chris Godwin moves all over the formation. Chris Godwin can block. Chris Godwin can run routes. Chris Godwin can beat you deep. This kid can do it all. I mean, we've seen him really continue to improve from his rookie year, where I thought he was a little stiff when it came to his route running, but boy, he's evolved into something special. And Bruce Arians said he was a 100-catch type of guy. And if he wouldn't have gotten hurt this past year, he may have damn well hit that 100-yard or 100 reception mark. No, I don't see a ton of regression in Chris Godwin's game. I see him being a bona fide top 15 PPR option, for 2020, regardless of whoever's under center.
So you're saying regardless whoever's under center, you don't see him regressing. I really feel like if Winston moves on and if they move on to another quarterback, depending on that quarterback, I see a regression here. Just because I feel like any QB coming into the system, despite the fact that, as you say, he's quite a Swiss Army knife when it comes to talents across the field, I just feel like you have to have tempered expectations when you have a change like that at quarterback. So to me, if we do see Winston move on, they move on from him, whatever, they mutually break up, something like that happens, I just see him regressing.
That's some news and notes we didn't get to. Jameis Winston got LASIK surgery.
Oh, yes.
You know what? Go Bucks. Yep. Jameis, what, can you finally afford LASIK surgery now? I mean, this is not something you've known about for years.
I was dying. I was dying when I saw that tweet. Like, oh my gosh. Coach, I can't see that far away. What? What?
Son of a bitch. Like, come on, man.
I'm gonna start crying. That's how much I think it's hilarious.
Why the hell would you not get LASIK surgery? Why? I'm like maybe if you're the average Joe and you don't have insurance and like you don't want to drop a couple grand on LASIK surgeries. I don't even know how much LASIK surgery costs. Doesn't even cost a couple grand, maybe out of pocket. I think
out of pockets maybe too, but
James Winston could buy all of Pinellas County in Florida. Freaking LASIK surgery if he wanted to. That's how much money he's made so much during his NFL career. I mean, and you wait till 5 years into your NFL career to fix your eyes? Shit.
It's so dumb.
Stop laughing at my team.
Like, watch. Okay. They decide, no, we're gonna stick with Winston. He's got new eyes, and all of a sudden, Jameis Winston. Will Jenkins throwing that and I'm dying. Jameis Winston, no more. Watch this year. He goes and throws like no interceptions. I can finally see.
My stomach hurts. So
I need you to fill in the time.
Why do I have this helmet? What is there? Where's the optimism? Yes, James. Thank you for being a responsible adult and fixing your eyes.
But is this fully
directly impacts your production when it comes to your profession? I mean, literally, I swear to God, this guy must create his own stories in his head. Like, I think this would make, a nice additional footnote to my career if I get LASIK surgery in the middle of my, prime. I mean, oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay.
The funny thing is, he's like, oh, by the way, you look at my numbers, I'm balling. Well, no shit. You couldn't even look at your own numbers.
You can't see
blurred vision because the blurred part of it was probably on the interception column because you led the league in that. First quarterback to throw 30 interceptions and 30 touchdowns in his season. Balling my ass.
My face hurts so bad. Oh, it's gonna be horrible. No, but okay, so is this fully on him though? Because when you're sitting in those meetings, we've seen enough episodes of different shows to know what these rooms look like for meetings. Now, is he just sitting at the front of the class in every single meeting? So there's never a time where he's like, Coach, I can't read the board. Like, come on.
I don't know. I don't. I think the scary part is I don't want to know because I've been sitting here, just blasting the front office of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for years, and this ass clap gets LASIK surgery. Oh my God! Like you. Is this the first time you've been to the doctor? I mean,
okay. To get a driver's license, you have to look at a board and like say you can see the numbers and letters.
We need to move on because I'm gonna get really upset. I don't want to. Actually, I'm already really upset. I don't want to stay upset. So let's move on. Let's move on to something.
Let's move on to another question that came up from Victor Jays. Thanks for throwing these questions up, guys. Love it. Please keep throwing them in the comments. Let's cheer Derek up with some other random nonsense just to get him smiling and not thinking about his Bucks making horrible decisions. But Victor says, where do you see Mariota playing in 2020?
So I've already mentioned this in a previous episode of another show here on the channel, but I believe Marcus Mariota could do some good things in that Chicago offense. I really do. I think, unfortunately, most Chicago Bears fans are going to be like, what? Mariota? Why the hell do we want Mariota when he got benched for Ryan Tannehill? Look, man, I mean, it's not just – sometimes you just need a change of scenery. And sometimes I'm also a firm believer that in today's NFL, where we've seen quarterbacks that have a similar skill set to Mariota, people forget that this kid was a hell of an athlete. He just hasn't been in an offense that has featured that athleticism. Look what he did at Oregon. And look at what he did at the Combine. He's an athlete. You get those little snippets, those little glimpses of his athleticism, he is capable of running an offense in the National Football League that is tailor-made around him. Do I think he can have sustained success? That's another conversation. But for a guy that can come in and run an offense with a ton of like RPO concepts, you're damn right. I think he can come in and have success. And he's got all those intangibles of a leader. He took by the way, he did take the Tennessee Titans to the playoffs a couple times and won a playoff game.
Sure.
So he's not a bum. He's not trash.
I think it's so funny how fickle not just fantasy football fans are, but football fans are in general. Where as soon as, the boat starts to shake, you start to experience real weather, turbulence, if you will, if you're on a flight, that immediately, it's trash, abandon him, he's horrible, what are we doing? It was a horrible decision. It's just so quick to call fire when there's a spark.
I mean, it really does. The NFL stands for not for long. And that applies to players that are employed, coaches that are employed, and that comes to fans. People don't want to see shit not for long. I mean, you'll fall out of favor in fans' hearts very quickly if things go south. So Mark, I 100% agreed with the decision to bench Mariota this year, and Tannehill played great and outplayed him by a landslide. It's nothing against that. I'm just saying I believe a new change of scenery could really, really benefit Marcus Mariota. I don't think his playing days are done as a starting quarterback. Another place, Indianapolis.
Yeah. I know that we did talk about him a little bit on last week's show. So if you guys haven't checked that out, please go on and head on over to that show. We did discuss a lot of player speculation last week as far as landing places we really like for different players. But yeah, for Mariota, maybe it's just the same type of situation reversed for Ryan Tannehill. The right situation works for the right quarterback, and the situation that Mariota was in is just not the one that's well suited for him. We did see, this past year, we're going to talk about MVP Lamar Jackson and how well the Ravens made that system work for him and how they worked with him on different things. Obviously, his passing game was massively improved. So the right system will work for the right quarterback. We just hope that, people don't forget what an athlete he is, and maybe making him a good late dynasty stash for if the right team picks him up.
You can get him dirt cheap.
Dirt
cheap. I have Mariota in a dynasty league, and if somebody were to throw me a decent offer, I'd send Mariota right now. But I'm not against getting shares of him. If you're in a rebuild, why not get a player that's going to get a change of scenery and potentially like Ryan Tannehill? Tannehill was in Miami, fell out of favor. The Miami Dolphins are still looking for a quarterback, and yet they just saw their quarterback that they committed a couple of years of their franchise to go to the AFC Championship game. So it's never universal as far as when a player falls out of favor in a specific franchise doesn't mean that they can't bounce back in another place.
Yeah. Will Jenkins saying Mariota to the Chargers.
Ooh. I could see him coming in there to compete with whoever they draft. I think that they got rid of Phillip Rivers for a reason. They have a high draft pick. I wouldn't be surprised if they get themselves Tua Tagovailoa or Justin Herbert in this upcoming draft. We'll see. But they're going to want some sort of competition, a veteran presence behind them to push whoever they do draft. Maybe even for Tua, he is still recovering from a hip injury. So wouldn't be surprised if they bring in some, a veteran presence that can at least bridge the gap between while Tua gets healthy.
Yeah. But if you've seen, video of Tua doing his work in, since the surgery, he's looking really good. And a lot of people have been saying like perfectly on schedule.
Tagovailoa. I love his last name, but I've heard it said so many different ways by folks that are calling the game. Tua Tagovailoa, like,
It's Viola, right?
I want to go to the combine and look. How do you say your name? Like, you tell me, I'll go ahead and say it the way you say it. So, but we'll see. I'm interested to see where he goes, given his hip injury. Where our franchise is just going to be like, it's okay. He looks like he's moving in the right direction, or are they going to be a little bullish on and pull the reins back? It's going to be one of the best storylines of the NFL draft.
I know. Storylines like that make me just want to go to the draft. I'm really tempted this year.
Like we talked about, let's have a bachelor party and you guys, everybody come with us. So
Yeah,
now we did talk. Now, I mean, Victor, we talked a lot about speculation last week, but I mean, if Brady leaves, Mariota going to the Pats, I could see them playing around with that idea a little bit. Again, I believe that Belichick wants to move on from Brady. That's the feeling that I get. He wants to see if he can win with somebody else, and Mariota's already proven that he can win in the NFL. It's just, can you get the right guy to come in there and basically take off? With Bill Belichick running the ship, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, Bill Belichick's quite a hell of a coach, so perhaps he just needs that shift, that system, that crazy work ethic that Belichick is known for to push him into place, and obviously, shake him and make him the quarterback we want him to be. But going on from Mariota, let's go over to MVP Lamar Jackson. And he was, I mean, to say breakout is a bit of an understatement. And we saw him doing amazing the year before, but he shattered any kind of expectations I think anyone had for him this past season. Now, do we see him continuing his greatness? Yes, because this kid is hungry. To me, he has to taper off a little bit. I mean, he is human. He can't maintain everything, but I do see him staying really high in all these numbers, and the team just reworking the playbook again like they did in offseason last year, and just making him successful in not just his running ability, but in the passing game, making sure that the weapons that he has are everything he needs. I just feel like he's going to continue and have an amazing year again and be back in the playoffs once more.
So let's just catch our breath here from what Lamar Jackson did last season. In 15 games, he became the first quarterback in NFL history to run for over 1,200 yards and throw for over 3,000 yards, while leading the league in touchdown passes, and is, I think, the most dynamic and dangerous player, and definitely the most exciting player to watch in the NFL today. I mean, no offense to Patrick Mahomes, but Mahomes is not the talent running the football that Lamar Jackson is. Hell, Lamar Jackson, if you just put him at running back, I think he'd still be a top 15 running back in the National Football League. When it comes to Lamar Jackson, as far as why I believe that there's going to be regression in session and why I don't want to draft him in the first round in any fantasy draft, is because he plays like a running back. When he tucks the ball down and runs, he's not looking to slide. He is a football player. And, no offense to Lamar Jackson, who has stayed healthy during the majority, if not his entire NFL career. I mean, even his rookie season, when they were just basically turning that into a triple option offense, I still saw that Lamar Jackson doesn't want to slide. Doesn't want to. I mean, he'll get out of bounds every now and then, but he doesn't want to slide. He wants to get as many yards as he can. He wants to pop a big one every time he tucks that sucker down to run, because he believes he believes legitimately every time he takes off run, he can score, which is what makes him so fun to watch. But he takes a lot of hits, which scares the living hell out of me for investing my first round pick in. Not only is he having to deal with the hits as far as when he drops back to pass, and he's got a thin frame and he's tucking that sucker down to run a lot. I think he's just high risk, high reward as far as your draft capital in 2020. But certainly, we saw Patrick Mahomes, who just won a Super Bowl this past year, and he didn't come anywhere. Now, granted, he was dealing with an injury. He was dealing with an injury at the quarterback spot.
Yeah.
And he doesn't run the ball nearly as much as Lamar Jackson. And, he even got dinged up and missed a couple games this past year and didn't come anywhere near his 50 touchdown season in 2018. So I think that Lamar Jackson, when he plays, is going to still be out of this world phenomenal. But I do get scared and weary that he's going to miss some time because he takes a lot of hits on a small frame that's built like Robert Griffin III. So that's probably going to be an unpopular take, but that's where I'm going with it.
No, I feel like that's a very, you're being very mama bird to our little Lamar Jackson. You don't want to see the little guy get hurt. I get it. I mean, you don't want him to get hurt. He's taking risks, but that's, I think, one reason why seeing how he played this season gives me confidence for next season, because the coaching staff that surrounds him, I feel like they're going to do another, boot camp on him, where obviously last year it was, we're going to make you one of the best passing quarterbacks in the league. And now this year it's going to be like, all right, we know what you can do. We got to make you the smartest player in the league in the way that you play. And that's going to be in ball security. That's going to be in protecting yourself, because now they're going to tell him the league knows what you're capable of, and everyone knows that they can hit you. We got to make you, we got to make you survive these hits, and obviously make sure that you don't get hurt. So I feel like he just has the right team around him to continue to evolve him as a player year to year. So I just feel like they're going to be smarter in the way they play him, which I think is going to make him a more deadly weapon.
Well, what could make him even more deadly is if you get him a true number one wide receiver. Like, who was his number one wide receiver this year?
I mean, I want to say Marquise Brown, but I feel like it was so evenly distributed in targets that it's hard to figure that out.
Well, Marquise Brown was also dinged up quite a bit, and he's tiny, but obviously incredibly electric, one of the fastest players in the NFL probably. But the point is, he doesn't have a traditional number one. He was doing this with like Willie Snead, Miles Boykin. Mark Andrews is a beast. But even then you saw like Nick Boyle and Hunter or Hayden Hurst. We really didn't see, he didn't have like an elite number one.
No.
And this draft is loaded with wide receiver talent. So I'm just interested to see if they either invest draft capital in a wide receiver, or if somebody like AJ Green becomes available. Like, I'm going there. If they get him a true number one, and he led the league in touchdown passes without a true number one last year. Obviously the sky's the limit for this. He got knocked out of the playoffs, and he accounted for 500 total yards. That's what it took.
Yeah.
That's how much this kid keeps swinging.
Yeah. Swinging for the fences.
He's something special, man. I love watching. Anybody that has a pulse when it comes to being a football fan loves watching this kid play. He's something we've never seen. Like, maybe the closest thing I've ever seen is Michael Vick.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like if you're someone that doesn't enjoy watching him play, you're someone that probably also likes, low-fat vanilla ice cream, and you're just a boring person.
Yeah, what's the point of that? What's the thought process behind low-fat vanilla ice cream?
You just like to eat a bowl of sadness, is my thought. You're gonna eat ice cream, make it good, crying out loud.
Yeah, yeah, I'm going for the nutritional value on ice cream. No,
but the point of ice cream is it's a treat to enjoy. Just if you don't like Lamar Jackson, you don't like ice cream, and I don't want to be your friend.
Damn, that's cold. But
I'm just saying, cold with ice cream. Dried Ocean is visiting us, saying, "Hey." Hasn't been on the last couple of streams, but we're happy to have you today. So
what's up, man? What's up?
What is up? But yeah, guys, if you agree with any of our takes on these players, please go ahead and comment. And if you don't agree, we'd love to hear those too, because it's all about, off-season fun, speculation, and going into next year, we just got to get excited and hyped for more football to come. We didn't talk about this at the top of the show, but I'd love to talk about it now. Just speaking about excitement on football as we go into next season. I love this. Victor J's jumping in. Mint chocolate chip all day. Victor is on my team. I love mint chip.
Yeah, I'm an all chocolate guy. Give me some sort of brownie in my ice cream.
Give me another dessert shoved into my dessert. That's what
you gotta go all out. I'm going all out.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. But because it's off season and we're talking about speculation and excitement for the rest of the 2020 season, I haven't caught any of this, but maybe I'm gonna have to start watching the XFL. I know that you watched a little bit last weekend. I just would love to hear your take on this, because is it really something for those missing football already to join in, or are they missing the boat?
I believe that the XFL, we're on this, Valentine's Day kick, right? So take a sip. We're talking about, literally it's in the name, XFL. Is it an XFL of all your exes? It is a football league that already X'd itself out of existence in the early 2000s. Like, it's the X that came back. Like, all of a sudden, they're back in your text message inbox, trying to get back, trying to get your attention. Look, I've changed. Look, we changed some rules. Look, we're here. Please love me. No. They didn't change enough rules to really to spark my interest. It feels like it's a dollar store version of the National Football League. Still 11 on 11 football. They've got a lot of, coaches that were in the NFL or, elite level collegiate programs to try to grab your attention. Look, it's discount football.
Discount football.
Sorry. I mean, not enough rule changes to really spark my interest. The 1, 2, and 3 point extra points. I mean, you got to score touchdowns in order to be able to have the opportunity to get extra points, which it looked like the offense has really struggled because you got guys like Aaron Murray and Jordan Ta'amu, which Jordan Ta'amu couldn't even win with A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf at Ole Miss.
Wow. Yeah, that's not making me really want to watch a game today.
The only thing that I, as a football junkie, enjoy is when you get to hear the coaches actually call the plays on the broadcast, which, by the way, as a competitor, I would just hire someone to literally watch the broadcast for my defensive coordinator. Like, your job is to watch the XFL broadcast on ESPN and then just tell me the play that they called. And then I relay that to my defense.
Yeah, that's one way to do it, I guess.
Anyway, but I like hearing the verbiage from the coaches because then it allows me to go back and watch what routes they ran and decipher what, like a play like banana actually means. Of course, some football heads that, know what banana means are going to be like, oh, well, don't you already know that? Like, don't go football snob on me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I like learning. I like learning more about the game. So, I mean, from that aspect, I like it. But I mean, as far as like emotional investment, half the players, like, they go into the locker room at halftime, and half of them look like they don't give a shit to be there. I mean, they're all just trying to make it to the NFL. If anybody does start balling out, they're going to be like, okay, well, the Cincinnati Bengals would like to add you as a practice squad player in the National Football League. Would you like to come? Yes. That's not what is going to have long-term success. I think that the National Football or the XFL will last maybe 2 seasons tops.
So it's just watered down natty ice is what you're saying.
Yes. I mean, it's like going from, if you're a wine drinker, going from that to, frat boy beer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not so much the sophisticated palate. It's, it's like, oh, there's house wine. It's wine. Doesn't make it good to drink. There's alcohol in it.
Look, you can still watch it. You can still enjoy some aspects of it. But ultimately, it's just going to make you, all it's going to do is just make you miss the NFL, which is the true love of your life, the true love of my life. So
true love of mine as well. We share that. Dried Ocean jumping in real quick. If Melvin Gordon gets a lone starting job, where do you think his ADP is at?
I mean, I think he's a second rounder.
Absolutely.
If he gets a lone starting job, I think he is a second round pick. The only reason why he's second round and not first round, just because when you change teams, we don't really know how to project production in a lot of cases. So
yeah, I think it's too risky to pick him up as a first rounder if he goes to a new system, learning that new system, though he's going to be the starter. There's a couple too many factors for my liking to put him in my first round.
Yeah, I'd have to be there with you. I think Melvin Gordon's a good player. Just I don't know. We'll have to see where he lands. It's that entire last offseason. I own him in Dynasty, and I don't know what the hell to do with him. I'm holding him because, what is the market for Melvin Gordon right now? You probably don't even get some people may give up a first rounder for him, depending on how desperate they are at running back. But more than likely no one's giving up a first rounder, not a high first rounder for him anyway.
I think your market is the fan of whatever team he ends up on.
Yeah, I mean, where would you think that his best landing spot is? Maybe Pittsburgh?
I mean, I think he could be effective there, but I don't know that he would. I feel like there's too many other young running backs that would eat into his potential to make him that 100%, main guy going into it. I feel like he would just be the veteran presence to be the goal line back, which, I mean, will get you touchdowns, but will it get you the numbers you want as a second rounder? I don't think so. I think
Atlanta would be his best landing spot.
Atlanta would be good. I would like Atlanta. Miami?
No. Oh God, that offensive line, please.
Yeah. Maybe the Jets move on from Lev Bell and pull Melvin Gordon.
Maybe. I'm not holding my breath on that. I mean, I will say this: if the Kansas City Chiefs decide to splurge on a free agent running back, a guy like Melvin Gordon immediately catches my attention. I mean, anybody in that Kansas City offense is always going to get everybody all hyped up. I mean, hell, even the ghost of Shady McCoy got people juiced up for a little bit. But Melvin Gordon in an offense like Kansas City, all day. Then he becomes a late first rounder to me.
Really? Because I feel like he stays second rounder to me because there's so many weapons then in Kansas City that, to me, plateau the numbers. Like, you're going to have one game where it's going to be him all day, and then you're going to have the next week where it's half that.
Scoring opportunities. That's where we break apart, because obviously with Mahomes pulling the trigger and them having Kelsey and Hill locked down, as long as they stay healthy, as long as just Mahomes stays healthy, then they're going to be one of the top scoring offenses in the league. And we saw how dominant this offense was with Kareem Hunt, who was really the last, quote unquote feature back in this offense. We saw how good he was when he was with Mahomes and how productive he was with Alex Smith.
Yeah.
You give me Melvin Gordon and a prime Mahomes, who's the best player in the league, scoring opportunities aplenty.
Plenty. Gotta like that.
A plethora of scoring chances.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right. Well, that was kind of our last player for our breakouts that could break some hearts. But let's go ahead and figure out our final debate. I think that with the Valentine's Day theme, we should kind of go with, I know that they're not popular with this demographic, but is there a rom-com that you don't mind throwing on with you and your lady? I saw a lot of people posting 10 Things I Hate About You yesterday. To me, that's a classic because McConaughey makes it so good. But favorite there?
If you're making me go rom-com, I actually wanted to go worst Valentine's Day experience.
Oh, okay. Well, we could do that one next.
I had a good one, but rom-com, I don't know. I've probably seen a bunch of rom-coms, but they don't exactly, jump to the mind. Technically Deadpool is kind of a rom-com.
If you want to go that way with it, crying out loud, well, I'm going to pick the movie that has, all the comedy, all the explosions, and Ryan Reynolds. Fine, go ahead. That'd be like, okay, so who do you think is going to be a good quarterback next year? Maybe Patrick Mahomes? That's kind of the pick you just made.
I don't care. It's fine. He's the right answer.
Anyways, if you're gonna call that a rom-com,
all right. So what do you like you said, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days or some shit like that?
Yeah, that's a classic.
What's your rom-com? Then what's your rom-com go-to? What did you watch with Knox yesterday?
I watched Captain America and Captain Marvel last night. That's the kind of person I am. But if I'm gonna pick a rom-com, I'm gonna go either Sleepless in Seattle or You've Got Mail. Those are two classics to me that I always enjoy anytime.
You've Got Mail.
Yeah, he is.
If you're giving me those two options, I'm definitely going with You've Got Mail because
because he's in it, and I feel like that one. It just, to me, when I watch it now too, because it's a la the AOL generation. I love this. Victor J's jumping in with Forgetting Sarah Marshall. That one is hilarious. But that one I feel is more just full comedy than it is romantic comedy.
Come on, it's definitely got a touch of rom-com. Come on. I mean, it's actually comes full circle with the breakup to start off, and he's wearing the same pair of sweatpants for 7 days.
Crying into his giant bowl of cereal.
Yeah,
that giant bowl of cereal was amazing.
Yes. Actually kind of jealous of it at times. Like if I'm just
keeps my cereal really fresh.
I mean, you sound like you're from London. Paul Rudd's in that movie. That introduced us to Russell Brand. I mean, that was the hit for me. Russell Brand and Get Him to the Greek were the two movies that I enjoy. Russell Brand. Everything else just kind of irks me. But Mila Kunis in that movie. Oh, I fell in love.
Every guy loves Mila Kunis. Every guy.
Roll your eyes at that. What? You mean like you disappointed that I like?
No, I feel like Mila Kunis is like I mean, she's fantastic and she's hilarious. I love her. But I feel like saying like, oh, I think Mila Kunis is hot is like, 10 years ago I was like, I think Megan Fox is hot. The same thing. Like, oh yeah, sure, everybody likes her.
I never thought Megan Fox was all that in a bag of chips. Not really my type. Not really my type. I mean, J-Lo is my type.
We know your type is J-Lo.
I know. I mean,
you're all about it.
It's kind of tough to admit that was the only CD I ever bought. Most people go, oh. I mean, Bucks was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It's really funny. I think Andrew was trying to call you, but the video said you weren't live. My bad.
I mean, quit calling me while I'm on the cast, bro. Quit calling me. So I will say this: what's your worst Valentine's Day experience?
Worst. I think
go first. I've got one that stands out.
I mean, I have one that was just, I want to say 2 years ago. I had gone out with a guy on like 2 dates and he didn't live in the state. So it was like, oh, so I was like, oh, hey, you know what? Let's just be friends. Like, it's totally cool. Like I'm not moving to where you are and you're not moving out here. But he kept being like, no, I could move out here. I'm like, no, don't move out here for me. Like, I don't like you enough for that. But he still went ahead and, sorry, I'm going to sneeze.
Wait, homeboy, God bless you.
Sorry.
Oh, man, there's always two. So homeboy, where did he live prior?
Like, he was living.
Say his area. Don't say a specific city because I don't want to crash the guy. But
he was living on the East Coast. Let's just go there.
Oh shit! You live in LA,
and I live in LA. So he was living on the East Coast, and he kept saying, "Oh, I'm looking for jobs near you." I'm like, "I hope you're not looking for me." And he's like, "No, I have a couple friends." And then a few conversations later, "Yeah, I would move out there for you." I'm like, we've been on 2 dates. This is too much. Like, no, thank you. But he went ahead and still sent me a dozen red roses on Valentine's Day to my office.
Oh, come on. Don't hate on him for that.
To my office, there's other people there. So I've got my coworker coming around the corner holding this giant thing of flowers for me. And I look at her like this, like, no. And she's just like, oh my God, what? And I'm like, I don't want these. I don't want these flowers. I just told this guy we are not that thing that you think that we are. I couldn't have been clearer. They were desperation roses, and I didn't want them.
They were desperation roses.
And they made me feel like a jerk because I don't like leading people on, and I felt like I was being very clear, like, no.
Well, you tried to be.
I tried to be as clear as I could. Tried.
Well, I mean, if you've been on 2 dates with the guy, and the poor bastard tries to then say, okay, well, I'm willing to uproot my life and move to Los Angeles so we could be near each other. I mean, that's a lot. That's heavy. That's heavy. That's a lot.
I guess I would be like, okay, I guess I understand your thought. If they were like earth-shattering, amazing dates, they weren't.
So wait, I mean, were the dates like?
They were fine. They were just fine.
Well, no. I'm saying, were they in Los Angeles? Were they when you were on the East Coast?
No, they were in LA. Yeah, they were in LA.
So did he fly there to just go on a date with you?
Apparently, one of them he did. Because.
Holy shit! Damn.
I know. I don't think I'm that awesome.
Damn, I didn't even get my fiance a Valentine's Day gift. I'm a piece of shit. In retrospect,
I'm not saying that.
I did. But she didn't get me anything either. So I mean, we're just 2 pieces of shit in a pod. But anywho,
I love this. Your friend Andrew's being hilarious right now. He says, "What's Valentine's Day?" And what a terrible person you are. 2 dates means everything. Laughing emojis.
So when I was a senior in high school, my worst Valentine's Day experience, the girlfriend I had at the time, we didn't go to the same school. So I guess it was long distance similar, but just in a very much smaller scale. She lived 45 minutes away. Same thing as you talking to
Totally
somebody
the same. Totally the same.
living in LA. I was a senior in high school, and God bless her heart. I went to go see her. I always had to go see her. She never came and saw me. Just twist the knife a little bit. But I got her, some flowers and some other candies and shit like that. She got me a card, and she spelt my name wrong. Like, again, it was, the gesture was nice, but boy, it chapped my ass when I saw Derrick. I was like, mother blank. Like, I didn't, at the time, like when she handed it to me and I read it, I didn't like cuss her out or do anything bad. I was like, oh, thank you. That's very sweet. Wah, bullshit. Then as I was driving home on the 45-minute drive home, I was like, what the fuck? Excuse me. I'm not supposed to say that. Nope. We'll blank that out later. Yep. But yeah, I was like, what in the hell? Like this, she spelled my name wrong. How does she not know how to spell my name? We've been dating for 3 months. Like, what in the hell?
What that means is she had you saved in her phone with that name too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, particularly. Oh, God. I was so bent out of shape about it that I broke up with her a week later. I couldn't get over it. I'm like, you don't know me. You don't even know how to spell my name.
You don't know me at all. Oh, man. I think
the worst thing is like my name was in the paper, not like 3 months prior to that, for playing in a football game where they were like, I was in the St. Pete Times for just because of the coverage of the game. And like, she read the article. She knew how to spell my name. Like, what?
Do you know she read the article, or did she say she read it?
She may have said now the plot thickens.
The plot thickens. Another twist of the knife. Andrew's got your back too. He says, you meant to say mother lover, probably.
That's a way to highlight it. Thanks, bud.
And also Andrew's saying, I sent my flowers to my wife and said, there, I'm celebrating a stupid Hallmark holiday. I hope you put that on the card.
Holiday. It is a Hallmark holiday.
100% it's a Hallmark holiday. I couldn't agree more. I can't stand Valentine's Day. I think it's the dumbest thing ever. If you need a day to tell your significant other how much you love them, you don't love them.
Agreed. 100% agree with that. Like, that's stupid holiday. Holiday.
It's dumb, and every year, I want to say, because of it, the price of cards goes up. I almost spent I don't buy cards anymore because they've gotten to like $6 a card. And
yeah, it's a bit much now.
It's like, this card doesn't even have glitter on it. Why is it $6?
I got you the envelope. I wrote on the envelope.
Yeah. I now will just write on like those tiny little circles that come on like the bags for like presents. I'll just write on that like a bunch of tiny stuff. Or if I do like a handmade gift, I like turn part of the gift into the card, where it's like, if it's a picture, on the back is the card like written out. Like, crying out loud. I'm not going to spend an extra $6 to $10 on a card just so that it sings to you. Like, I'm not doing that. It's just insane.
Yeah.
And Andrew agrees. It should be every day. Every day you should be able to randomly say, you love you to someone else, or just flowers for no reason are absolutely the best thing for people. So don't do it on the same day where that's just cheesy. Do it like on a random Tuesday. That makes no sense. That sounds like that's to me much nicer.
I mean, that's the play-by-play that you're given. The handbook to Sam's heart is: don't move across the country for me, and give me
don't buy me flowers
on Tuesday.
Don't do If I said we're just friends, don't move across the country for me. And and pretty much. And I mean, I love flowers, but they die. I would rather have food.
Well, the thing is, though, is that you're health conscious, so I can't just send you a crate of ice cream with a spoon and say dig in.
You can if it's like Halo Top or like or Rebel ice cream, which is like the keto ice cream that's really good.
Dear God. All right. I mean, that was a joke, but I mean, now you're going into detail about ice cream. This is you talk about the fantasy debate with Sam Tate. This debate, I'm going to lose because I have no knowledge of the ice cream world. So,
as someone that has been on a
away.
diet for like 5 years, I've had to get creative with desserts. I am a genius when it comes to desserts. If you're going to have a cheat day, I know how to do cheat days right. Hands down. No one does a cheat day the way I do. Just saying. But
well, go ahead and pump, pat yourself on the back, but go ahead and sign us off while you're at it.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Fantasy Debate, brought to you by Fantasy Focused and the Original Hooters. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit subscribe on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe on all your podcasting, digesting platforms. We would love to have those comments, and go ahead and give us a review. If you have any more feedback for us, please put that in the comments at us on all forms of social media. You can find Derek as the same handle on all forms of social at dtater4 on Twitter, Instagram, all things awesome. I myself am at Samantha R. Holt on Twitter and at Sam_awesome on Instagram. Please give us a follow. Love to hear your guys' input on our picks and our takes. Makes us better every week when we get to hear from you guys. So have a wonderful weekend, and go ahead and sign us off, Tate.
You said it all. Until next time. Later, says the Tater.
Peace.